ډالرونه په 2007 کې تر 2.3 میلیارډ ډالرو پورې په 2015 کې چې ښایي په کلني ډول 2.9 سلنه زیات شوی. د اکسفورډ اقتصاد پوهان تخمین کوي چې چین چې 50 سلنه پانګونه کړې $26 میلیارډ ډالره به پانګونه کوي 2016 او نور 14 آسیایي هېوادونه $2.4 میلیارډ ډالر. آسیا مخامخ شوې تر ټولو نه په کم کمښت که څه هم داسې یوه هراړخیزه څېړنه نشته په سیستمونو کې او په بهیرونو کې، خو د آسیایي هېوادونو ترمنځ د تجارت د زیاتېدو له امله ښایي چې اتصال څومره مهمه ده. واقعا دا تر ټولو ډیر مهم بدلون دی په تیرو کلونو کې. د کورونا سخت اغیز زموږ ژوند اغیزمن کړی، زموږ د ژوند په روزګار هم اغیزه کړې، خو دغه خبرې پانګونه او بنسټونه به ډیر مهم وي. د آسیایي هېوادونو د پروګرامونو له کووډ-19 کورونا نه وروسته تر د نړیوال حکومتولۍ سولې یا د تړون پورې مهم بدلون. دریم، د پانګونې پراختیا کې او ټول آسیایي هېوادونه آسیا به مسلط لوبغاړی وي په پانګونه او بنسټونو کې. څلورم، په نښه کول د هغو خلکو چې له پامه غورځول شوي د هغو ځایونو کیدای شي چې په تجارت کې د موثریت سبب شي. دا د هېواد امنیت، اقتصاد، عامه روغتیا او خوندیتوب ته مهم دي. ملګري ملتونه امریکا لاندې 6 ځایونه کیمیاوي، تجارتي، مخابراتي، د ډیمونو جوړول، حکومتي اسانتیاوې، د روغتیا اسانتیاوې، معلوماتي ټکنالوژي، د ترانسپورت سیستم او د اوبو سیستمونه. دا ښایي چې ټول 4 صنعتي انقلابونه تړلي دي له جوړښتونو سره او ټکنالوژۍ سره. حقیقت دا دی چې سلګونه میلیونه خلک په آسیا په ګډون دغه جوړښتونو ته لاسرسی نه لري. افغانستان یو له هغو ځایونو دی چې په دغه اتصال کې ځای لري. په تاریخي ډول تجارتي لارې له لاپسلازولي او ابریشم لارې نه نیولې، دغه نومونه موږ ته راکړل شوي چې زموږ د موقعیت ارزښت ښیي. د آسیا زړه، د هند دروازه او 4 لارې یو داسې ځای چې د آسیا سویټزرلینډ ګڼل شوي و. 3 لغتونه د آسیا 4 لارې ښیي چې موږ خپله هم همدغه لرلید لرو او زموږ همدغه پلان کې شامل دی. موږ ډېر خوشحاله یو چې په تېرو 5 کلونو کې
Afghanistan is being viewed from a perspective of opportunity and not just threats. With this context in place, I now turn to address the 4 questions posed to the panel. A strong regional consensus is essential to creating sustainable peace. Strongly associate myself with the words of Minister Atmar and Ambassador Lyons. How can the regional political landscape be leveraged to this effect? First, by developing a common understanding of the current context, where the Afghan defense and security forces will be playing the dominant role in our own security and safeguarding all our neighbors and partners from the threat of terrorism. Additionally, we must understand terrorism as a constantly changing ecosystem rather than a series of isolated organizations. Second, having reached an agreed upon end state for a political settlement in Afghanistan, that is, a sovereign, unified, democratic Afghanistan at peace with itself, the region and the world, capable of preserving and expanding the gains of the past 2 decades, a notion fully endorsed by the UN Security Councils, for which we are grateful, work with the Afghan government on an inclusive regional process to develop a roadmap for securing the end state. Let me repeat this. We need an inclusive regional process to develop a roadmap for securing the end state that we've all agreed on. Third, endorse Afghanistan's posture of multi-alignment, where we maximize our cooperative relationship in the region, avoid becoming parties to conflicts and disagreements among our friends, and ensure that our territory is not used against any of our regional and global partners or against the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Fourth, cooperate with us to develop a regional framework to guarantee peace and political stability and contain and eliminate the interrelated threats of terrorist networks, criminal organizations, and other threats to the region. Fifth, engage with us on a medium to long-term strategy of cooperation based on mutual interest, mutual respect, and mutual trust to demonstrate the potential of Afghanistan as a platform of cooperation, as well as an illustration of the problem-solving capacity of the region. The following initiatives will help improve regional connectivity and enhance trade between regional partners in Afghanistan. First, speeding up support for speeding up regional projects ranging from CASA 1000, transmission lines, railways, trade, transit, and investment cooperations, rules of the game that would allow for free flow of goods. These measures will demonstrate cooperative advantage and invest in the logistical infrastructure, systems and processes to enable the agreed transport, trade, and transit systems to perform to full capacity as measured by the Global Logistics Index. Second, secure agreement either by adoption of global standards or creation of regional standards on trade, transit, and transport, and health, sanitary standards, and invest in the improvement of supply chains and value chains beneficial to all stakeholders. Politics with a small p should have no place in making trade, transit, and transport unpredictable and disrupt trust. Third, examine the gaps in critical infrastructure in Afghanistan and help us design a media investment to overcome these gaps. Conversion of military infrastructure, such as airports, could be an important component of this approach. Fourth, given our vast potential in renewable energy and abundant resources in metals and minerals, help us realize, become a hub of green energy and industry. We welcome Fortescue's Memorandum of Understanding with us to produce 20,000 megawatts from water and invest in green industry, especially steel and related sectors. Fifth, cooperate with us on our agenda of digital transformation, particularly in the areas of human capital, education and health. Fully 74% of our population is under 30 and 47.5% are under 15. One of the youngest population on earth and in need of hope and investment. These endeavors can be supported through online systems and communities. What's been the problem in the past? The constraints have been conceptual, operational, and managerial. Our strategy to place Afghanistan within a regional framework of connectivity only emerged during the last 5 years. I thank Vice President Saleh and Danish and my other colleagues that are pushing for this agenda and grasping its full implications. Projects have been the dominant tool of infrastructure development, resulting in the well-known reliance on primary contractors who subcontracted up to 5 levels and did not take responsibility for outcomes and results. There's been an enormous waste in misallocation of resources in the area of infrastructure. Weakness in leadership and management of infrastructure and lack of prioritization of investments that would have had multiplying effects on the lives and livelihood resulted in misallocation and missed opportunities. Ignoring regional connectivity has been costly, and we will avoid it at every cost. Simply put, Afghans neglected to capitalize on the advantages conferred by aligning ourselves with the great transformation of our time, and the region looked at us as a source of threats to guard against. Fortunately, the foundation for improving regional cooperation and connectivity is now firmly in place. The following measures will enable us to accelerate and expand our common efforts. First, taking advantage of the consensus among regional leaders on the centrality of regional cooperation and connectivity, develop a process and a strategy for political consensus on cooperation in support for peace and prosperity in Afghanistan and an investment program to enhance regional connectivity. Second, adopt a regional and global asset management and asset enhancement ecosystem for a program devoted to regional connectivity and draw on the skills and capabilities of treasury centers to adapt a suite of risk management solutions for large-scale regional program of connectivity to enable the investment of national, regional, and global companies. Third, draw on the massive expertise of the region to design and help us implement, operate, and maintain projects with well-defined programs of connectivity. Fourth, utilize existing forums for building consensus on creating predictable environments for regional cooperation on trade, transit, and investment, thereby enabling the Afghan people to lift ourselves through participation in functioning and reliable supply chains and value chains. We don't want charity, we want connectivity. Fifth, understanding the deep suffering of the Afghan people during the last 4 years. Help us achieve our goal of becoming an Asian roundabout. A sovereign, united, democratic Afghanistan will be an asset to the region and the world, as a center of thriving, intolerant Islamic culture and civilization once again. At the conclusion, let me first thank my fellow Afghans. I've written these words under the attack of rockets and under previous attacks on the life of the first Vice President. Our people's expectations of their leaders who serve as their public servants is to become reasoned and future-looking. The violence that our people suffer is beyond endurance. The window is short. Please help take advantage of it. I have the pleasure to thank the Asian Development Bank, the European Union, the IMF, the World Bank, and bilateral organizations from our major partners who have helped us during these years and who are playing a critical role in this conference. I'd like to thank Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan, in Turkey, in Georgia, for agreeing with us on the Lapis Lazuli corridor. That is crucial. I'd like to thank India and Iran for the Chabahar corridor and related sea corridor as well as the air corridor. I'd like to thank Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Russia for their support, and China for the support to what we call both the wheat corridor and the key supply corridors, and the flows will soon be two ways. I'd also like to thank Germany, Japan, Republic of Korea, Norway, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, United States, and United Arab Emirates, and Qatar for their support. We welcome the investment in our airport and air capabilities. All of you round this table present those capabilities and accomplishment that allow us to think through that our vision of becoming an Asian roundabout is not an empty dream, but a realizable objective. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the partnership, and we're looking forward to your further cooperation.
Mr. President, thank you again. As always, not only have you given us a very strong context for the importance of regional cooperation and the contribution Afghanistan can make, but you've also set out for us, as you often do, a very solid work plan. So much for that, and we all look forward to continuing to work with you and your government to move forward on these many, many projects. Now, you mentioned, Mr. President,